Hey everyone, this is Steve, curator of the MHS Military Collection, with yet another episode of Keep 'em Rolling, a channel dedicated to preserving the memory of what the United States Armed Forces did during, well, the primary focus was originally World War II, but now it's expanded to also include World War I, Korea, and Vietnam. Now my goal for this channel is to share, as always, unique items from the collection, new acquisitions, to offer preservation tips, and to take all of you on the occasional outside collecting adventure and visits to historic sites that focus on our country's military heritage. Now before we get formally started, I just want to let you know that the next 3 episodes are going to deal with the United States Army enlisted footlocker of World War II. And I'm going to break it down into 3 different episodes. Normally I like to air those episodes once a week, if you will, but because there's 3 of them, I'm going to try and air them a little bit faster so they don't stretch out so far. Now, in airing these episodes, the problem that I've had is coming up with the information about these footlockers. So there's going to be gaps. I don't cover officers' footlockers, many of which were private purchase. So if there's a question, a comment, you want to add information, please feel free to do so. I'd love to know everything I can about the United States Army enlisted footlockers. Hey everyone! For the next 3 episodes of Keep 'em Rolling, I've decided to focus on the United States Army enlisted man's footlocker. Now the reason I've decided to break this down into 3 episodes is a while ago I bought an enlisted man's footlocker, and I decided that I was going to try and fill it with every item that a United States soldier would have been issued during World War II. Now, for this 3-parter, what I've decided to do is break it down into part 1, showing you the different examples of footlockers that were issued during World War II. Part 2 will be showing you the interior upper tray of the footlocker that I have refilled, if you will. And then part 3 will be showing you the lower compartment and the items in that lower compartment. Now, a couple of things you might notice. First of all, I am outside today. I thought it'd be easier to shoot outside because these are so large. And of course the day is not cooperating. Originally it was supposed to be a beautiful sunny summer day, and instead it's cloudy with intermittent sprinkles. So I'm trying to get this shot before the next wave of sprinkles comes in here. Secondly, it's Sunday afternoon, and normally the road that my house is on is fairly quiet, but today there just is a huge amount of traffic. So if we get something that's really noisy, a motorcycle, city bus, or what have you, I will simply pause and then pick up as soon as they've gone by. Now, as to the footlockers, I have tried to research both what the content should be and just the story behind how footlockers were issued. And there is just very little information out there. I've tried online, I've tried the various Army manuals and the like, and I have found very little in regards to footlockers. It seems the Army stresses how to make your bunk, stresses how to hang up your clothes on the rack, stresses how to pack your field pack and the like, but when it comes to the footlocker, they just don't talk about it at all. What I've been able to ascertain from veterans is also very conflicting. Veterans have told me that there was no formal way of putting your footlocker together. It all depended on the officers and the NCOs at the particular base that you were at. Veterans have told me that you were able to take your footlocker home, that basically what would happen is when your basic training was up, you would leave all the stuff you didn't need in your footlocker, that would get shipped home, and then you would pack your barracks bag or your duffel bag with the stuff that you were taking on to your next overseas engagement or what have you. Other veterans have told me no, that you'd get your footlocker assigned to you, and as soon as your basic training was over, you loaded up your duffel bag, and the footlocker remained where it was for the next soldier. Why I'm trying to find this out is because I've seen a lot of reenactors who take footlockers, and they love to put a lot of attachments on the inside of the footlockers. You know, pin-up girls and postcards, they love to cover the inside. But if what's true, what the veterans have told me is true, that the footlocker would simply be reissued to the next soldier, it seems like you'd get in huge trouble if you plastered the inside with pin-ups and the like. So it's one of those interesting things I have not been able to nail down. So if any of you know, please let me know, and I will post it on here and so forth and so on. I would love to get to the bottom of this. Alright, we're going to begin with this footlocker right here. This is what I would consider to be a early version of the wartime footlocker. It's your standard, what you'd picture is the GI footlocker, the big rectangular wooden cube. Except this one does have some unique features to it. When we come in here, you can see the metal reinforcements on the corner. It has them on all four corners of the lid. And this is just to give the lid a little extra reinforcement from being chipped. It has reinforcement pieces here at the top. It does have this angle iron, which wraps around the whole edge here. The handles on the side are your typical wooden handles. However, they've taken the time to curve them off, give them a little more decorative look to them. You can see the angle iron there on the back as well. As we come around here to the front, it has these latches to keep it closed. There's one there. There's one there, and then we have this hasp here for a padlock, so you could secure your belongings. The footlocker is in its original color. It's a very dark OD, and then on the top here you can see a very nice US. Now, when we open it up, so you have to actually flip open the two latches, open it up, and inside you will find the tray. The tray is the standard two-sided tray, or two-compartment tray. It also has the finger holes here on the right and the left, and that's a good way to tell if a footlocker is World War II or the tray is World War II, is you look for the holes on the side. If the holes are in the middle, that tends to be a post-war design feature. Now, if you're looking to buy a footlocker and you want one with the tray, make sure to buy one with the tray. A lot of these were sold as surplus. They were great for storing your hunting gear, your camping gear, your fishing gear. You know, you throw it all in the basement, close it up, there you go. And this tray takes up a lot of room, so the trays were often discarded. Finding these in the wild is not that easy, and if you do find one, what I've learned is that oftentimes they're not interchangeable. I have two footlockers that have the trays. They're both World War II vintage, and I got the trays mixed up. And amazingly enough, the trays did not fit. They were not interchangeable. So you learn these interesting things. Now, over here you can see this footlocker does have a hinge to hold the lid so it stays upright. It has a nice date, made by Schwander Brothers Incorporated, 1942. We have what's left of a decal for TWA. I don't know when that went in, but I don't feel like removing it. I think it's part of the history of the footlocker, so that's going to stay. And now if we take the tray out, what you'll see is just the standard large compartment below. You have these two lips here to hold the tray in place. And that's pretty much it. Just a good standard early war footlocker. Okay, we're going to push forward here on footlocker number 2, and I'm going to keep it rather succinct because it is starting to rain. Of course it is. It's supposed to be sunny today. So, now, this one right here is a mid-war footlocker, and you can tell that due to the need to conserve material, a lot of the embellishments are gone. This also simplifies the manufacturing process. You look over here, you see all those metal embellishments, the painted black, the green angle iron on the corners. This one here, there is no corner metal piece, and if you look, there's only 1, 2, 3 little pieces of angle iron to keep the footlocker together. The handles on the side are no longer curved, they're now just pretty much straight across. If you look at the front, there are no latches. All there is the hasp here to put your padlock so you can lock up your belongings. When we open up the footlocker, you'll notice on the inside, there is no special device to keep the lid upright. The lid now just lays all the way back, so you just lean it up against your bunk, if you will. The manufacturing company is the Armored Trunk Manufacturing Company, 1943. Now this one does not have the tray in it. I bought it that way just because I was looking for something that I could use to store extra field gear. So, now, another unique thing, when you look at it here, you'll see it does have the US, but look at the color. The color is very different. It's a much lighter OD, and if you compare it to the one next to it, look at that. I mean, so it shows you there are a lot of shade variants in these footlockers. But this is just your standard, run-of-the-mill, about as basic footlocker as you can possibly get. Now, one thing I do want to point on both of these, notice what's missing. We don't have the names of the GIs, which kind of lends me to that whole idea that these were not given to the GI for them to keep. This was given to the GI to use while they were in basic, and then they were simply left behind for the next GI coming into his basic training. And the rain continues to fall, but I wanted to finish with this one just because this is so unique. This footlocker right here actually belonged to an officer, a first lieutenant. She was a nurse, Lydia Schultz, I believe, or Schultetus. So something to that effect. Now what's so cool about this one is this footlocker is actually metal. Now, there's been a lot of debate about these metal footlockers. Apparently, from what I've been able to ascertain, is the metal footlocker was something that was utilized in the South Pacific or in areas where there was a lot of moisture, where the fiberboard ones, such as this right here, tended to fall apart. So they went to a metal. This is a late war type of footlocker. We might actually have to call it here. The rain's really starting to come down. But if you look on the side, you'll notice there are no handles. There's like these lips that have been put into it. There are no latches on the front, but there is a hasp for a padlock. We have the padlock right here. And then when you look on the inside, this footlocker, it has a piano hinge along the back, which allows the hinge to stay upright, and it actually has a metal tray. Once again, to reiterate, the stories that have been related to me were that these footlockers were utilized in areas such as the South Pacific, where there was a huge amount of rot, and the rot would actually get into the fiberboard ones and just turn them to mush, where these right here would last a lot longer. This one is rather banged up, it's dented, it's had an interesting life, but it's a survivor. And I do actually have 2 of these. So this isn't one of those things that's like an anomaly where, oh, you know, they only made one in some camp for a person. This is actually, I have seen a couple of different examples and they're identical. Now, if you pull the tray out, the tray just kind of slips right out here. You can see the metal lip here. You can also hear the rain now pitter-pattering on the footlocker, so I want to get these in before. So, this just goes to show you the really unique varieties of footlockers that are out there for you to collect. Well, that concludes this episode of United States Army Footlockers. Please feel free to like if you like, dislike if you dislike. If you dislike, please let me know in the comment section as to why, so I can improve. I'm always looking for ways to make the channel that much better. Subscribe if you haven't. Let your friends and family and pets and everyone else know so they can subscribe as well. And, you know, I want to add a few apologies here. The ambient noise from the road kind of interfered a little bit, so I apologize about that in this video. Plus, the weather really didn't cooperate. If I sounded a little exasperated as I went on through the episode, it was because I was getting soaked. I was trying to prevent the camera from getting soaked, and I was also sweating the fact that the footlockers were getting wet as well. But everything came out fine, everything dried out okay, and it's all good. So, until next time, this is Steve reminding you to do your part and keep 'em rolling.